because it's like an hour, 30 minutes. So, welcome for all of you watching live. We are live on all platforms here: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Welcome to the 30-day of Holiday Live series where, we're going to change the trajectory of how we're operating this holiday season. And, each day just pour into you guys where we have some authentic conversations in regards to people, things that most of us struggle with on our own. And the post I'm going to drop today is a transformational post. And the things for many years, more than a decade, I'll share with you, you know, for a while when I was a child growing up, like we didn't have to worry about anything. My dad was very successful. He had built a successful business from the age of 16 years old in the construction industry. Grew up going to private schools, played travel ice hockey. Money was something that, fortunately, growing up, I never had to worry about. But there was a lot of other things, that were going on at the age of after college. There was a lot of things going on. My dad had to have major back surgery, and that really was a big transitional point for how life changed drastically, especially what happened in 2008 with the economy and stuff like that. And so that was the beginning of where we had lost everything. My dad's health was really bad, and we had lost everything for everything that he had built. And so it was very traumatic. And for many years, I'm going to share a post with you that I just really had to always try to be positive, and I focused on that fake it till you make it. And I feel like that anthem, it's just not relevant. It never really was, but I get that it was a space of, pretend that things are great and things will be great. But what you're doing is you're consistently suppressing trauma. You're suppressing the grieving. You're suppressing pain. And the only way out of anything is through it. And this community is to help support you so that, not only do you have to just not only is give me I want this to be positive and light, but at the same time, I want it to be authentic and real. And so to talk about the things that you might be struggling with and to know that you're not alone, and everybody has a story, but how we take that story and process it, and not pretend or fake it till we make it, but we have to deal with it, heal it, and also move on. And I had a coaching call the other day where we talked about people see things as like an end target goal with your goals and what you want to create and your vision in life and your dreams. And there's a bunch of challenges that happen along this journey of achieving what you want in life. And there's always multiple paths to that end target. And a lot of times we see people and we look at our mentors and people that we admire and we aspire to be in life, and that was their path, but it doesn't resonate in our hearts that that's for us. We want what they've achieved, but maybe the way that we're going to achieve it is going to be a different avenue. And so, you can take bits and pieces of people that you aspire to be like, or you admire, or people that have really built something amazing. And maybe that is having an amazing holiday season. I want an amazing holiday season of connection and intimacy and fun and joy. And just because I had a past story where holidays do bring up, pain and sadness, and doesn't mean that this holiday season has to be the same trajectory of what my past experiences have been. And that's what this is about, because I see so many people consistently bring their past into their future. And it doesn't have to be your story anymore. You can change your story, not by faking it till you make it, but actually dealing with it, healing from it, and creating the new. Because at any point in time, That's on you. That's your responsibility. Your joy is your responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. Your health is your responsibility. Nobody's coming to give it to you. And nor is it fair to project that onto other people or to blame other people or situations or circumstances as to why you are miserable and why you're unhappy and why you're sad. Like, you gotta like figure out how to handle that, and how, if you have to go back and heal it, so that you can create a new for yourself and in your life. Because at the end of the day, if you're putting on a smile and faking it and you're a phenomenal actor or actress, which I was for many years, I was amazing at it. That's why when 2 points in my life when I didn't want to be here anymore and I was suicidal, nobody knew, because I was so great at acting. But my heart was super sad. My mind was chaotic and more of a liability to me than an actual friend and an asset. And a lot of what we're talking about, when you embrace emotions and you allow yourself to feel them and have healthy tools in place to process them and to pull them when you need them, number one, you can move out of them a lot faster. And number two, you can, I think you just really move out of it a lot faster, but also you can release it. You don't have to carry it with you moving forward every single day. You create, we talked about yesterday, moving through it is really reclaiming your freedom inside your heart, inside of your mind. And so that's what this is really about. At any point in time, you can create the new and you can transform your life. You can transform your mind. You can transform your situations, your circumstances, and move out of them fairly quickly. And so these are things that, that do get brought up a lot more, especially when it comes down to how you are moving forward in your life. And so that's what these conversations are about. And these are some things we're just going to, thank you, we're going to be discussing today. So today's really conversation I want to talk about is about really taking care of yourself and prioritizing yourself and prepping yourself. And there's conversations that, I've been having with a lot of people. I've been doing more support groups for people because I think finally we come to an understanding that if you understand the 5 core obstacles that really block our blessings in life, one of them is cravings and addictions. And this time of the year is an all-time high. And the only way to really transition those things that we feel that we have a void inside of ourselves is through connection and through coming together in a healthy, supportive environment where you can thrive, and it gives you a safe space to allow yourself to feel accepted, allow yourself to feel part of something, and that you're not alone. Because at the end of the day, like, we are all connected in some way, shape, or form, whether we believe it or not. So today's the biggest thing is really about creating excuses and how to transition and shapeshift them. Excuses, like if we discuss like what excuses are about, excuses can really work for us or they can work against us. And an excuse is just a way to justify why we are or we are not showing up for ourselves. So we can come up with an excuse as why we deserve to be last or why we deserve to be first. And there's everything, as we discussed the last few days, is there's a consequence is just knowing like there's cause and effect, that if I do X, this will be my outcome. This will be the result of. And so when we understand like every decision we make has a consequence, the consequence is either desired or undesired. The outcome is either desired or undesired. And the moment that we can release and let go of creating a good and bad, because when we label things, we label ourselves, it's also a big part of judgment. And when we label something as good or bad, associated with bad is judgment, self-criticism, and we really block our blessings when we get into that energy field. So when you think of things as desired or undesired versus good or bad, you know that everything in life is seasonal. Like just like this is a season Actually, everything in life is a season. If you take the whole year, that could be a season, and you have 4 parts of the year which are seasonal. And so life is seasonal. And if you take it like that, okay, in this season of my life, this served me for where I was. And now, as it's time for my next level upgrade, or I change my mind on how I'm living my life and how I'm showing up and who I'm becoming and who I'm stepping into, that's a whole new season. And that requires me to establish a certain mindset, certain habits and behaviors that are going to support that mindset. And then eventually, every single day, practicing getting used to and comfortable to that new role that you're stepping into in this season of your life. So when we're talking about today's like core focus is excuses, and our excuses can either work for us or they can work against us. They can either be the reason as to why we break ourselves down or we build ourselves up. It could be a reason as to why we consistently put ourselves last. And if you understand that everything in your life is an extension of you and you're the most important person in your life, and that the more that you put yourself last, you're breaking down your self-worth, you're breaking down your self-value, you're breaking down the level of importance, which impacts your net worth. Your self-worth does impact your net worth. And so if you're somebody that's struggling with worth, and I get it, somebody's struggling with worth and how you're positioning yourself, if you reverse engineer it and you start to build up ourselves from the inside out. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who's very well off, and they're like, people pay for your energy. They pay for your energy and for your proximity, and of course for your knowledge and your skill set. But most of the time, people want to be in proximity. And so if we think about it like that, like, wait a second, my self-worth does impact my net worth. So let me flip it, let me pour into me, let me transition the way of how I think of myself, because that's actually more valuable than what others think of me. If I don't think highly of myself, how are others going to think highly of myself? If I don't prioritize me, why would others want to prioritize me? If I don't think highly of me, why would others think highly of me? And so we're in a season of creating excuses that work for us versus that work against us. Holidays can be a really big time where we're constantly, and I see this a lot, especially with extremist personalities and overachievers and high achievers, is putting themselves last. And this is like a big time of the year where this could be, remember, we're transitioning obstacles into our opportunities. This can be your big opportunity of where you change your storyline and how you're moving in life. And just this season, if you just focus on they say, like, in order to really, people that achieve massive things is they take these big visions and they break them into smaller things. And I had a coaching session the other night where we took this big vision of a client who wants to become a billionaire. And then there's like belief confliction. And we broke it down into micro steps of certain things of like, let's just focus week by week, week by week, week by week, reprogramming the belief, reintroducing yourself to yourself, like this, like, and even the tangible things of like, besides the materialistic of what you have to do, but also how you have to build yourself up and the excuses that you have to come up with that are actually in alignment to you. Because an excuse is just a justification system of why or why not we are reaching, achieving, and living the life that we want to live. So excuses, getting into here, is really about prioritizing ourselves. And with that being said, we've conditioned ourselves, and society's conditioned ourselves to really feel the guilt of taking care of ourselves or prioritizing ourselves. And a lot of times too, we feel the guilt of putting ourselves first, even if you don't have a family that you've created yet, and you are just you. Like, even for me, there are times when you are so attached to your business that you have a hard time separating yourself from it, and you feel bad developing a self-care routine and take care of yourself and putting your workouts first and putting your health first and your sleep as a priority, versus like feeling like every single day you have to be a prisoner to your company and your business. And here's the thing, working with real life people that have built very successful, beautiful businesses that are thriving, there's a external success, but an internal disconnect. So there's not a match. And they've built what we've come up with is this beautiful prison for themselves, because they still feel the same way they felt from before they even like built that business. Hello, hello. And when we prioritize ourselves, remember, you are a human being before your company, you're a human being before you're a mother, you're a human being before you're a father. And the more solid you become for yourself, that extends out even more for everything else to be more solid and better. Because eventually, I'm going to tell you this as facts, and I see it all the time, unfortunately. People build these amazing companies that they've become a prisoner to. And at the end of the day, if we are building something because we believe it's going to make us feel free, but you've built it and you still feel captivated, you still feel like a prisoner, clearly something's off. Clearly something's off. And then when you build that, a lot of people, they've sacrificed themselves, because that's what we're doing in the entrepreneurial world. They're like, go put yourself first. Or even if you're an entrepreneur of a parent, you're a mother, you're a full-time parent, like that's an entrepreneur. Like that's a CEO right there. Like you're running the house, you're running a family. Your just currency is a little different, and I want you to think too, like if you are a full-time wife and mom, or dad, and because I know roles have shifted a little bit, be the boss of the home. Own it. Own that role. But owning any role still comes back to like coming up with a reason, as like, when I take care of me and I take my healthy time out and I create that excuse, I can then give you the best of me versus what's left of me. Because a lot of times children, if you are a parent, they experience the worst of you, not the best of you, because the energy you're giving them is of resentment, because you're not taking care of yourself, and then you're projecting that negative stuff of you not taking care of you, whether the anxiety, the sadness, the resentment, like onto others, and that's not fair. And then those are memories that you've created and the relationship you've created within people that you care about the most. And there's so much more. If you can see this right here, there's so much more to life than just our business when it comes to our life wheel and the categories in our life. There's so much more to life than just our business. Business is a vehicle, but for what? Freedom, financial freedom, time. What is that core desire thing that we're looking for? So getting back to these excuses as to conditioning ourselves to feel the guilt of taking care of ourselves whenever we like, well, I need to go show up for my workout because that makes me more mentally sharp. It shifts my mood. I'm in a better state. Maybe I had a bad hit yesterday. I did a webinar to a TradeX group, and there was over maybe like 55 people on the webinar, and we were just talking about the importance of putting your self-care first. And if you have a really bad loss, whether it being a loss of a deal in business, of money, or a loss of a person that you cared about, they're going to happen. Wins and losses are going to happen in life. It's just a matter of time. And it's important to be prepared and have an arsenal of tools so that when they do happen, like, how to handle them. That you're going to be strong. How to process them so that you can get back up as fast as possible. And this also comes back into the space of like deserving. You deserve and you're worthy of taking care of yourself, because that actually allows you to do a lot better in the world and in life and in your businesses and your families and, whatever it is that you're trying to create. And so as brutal as it sounds, this is literally the self-talk that many of us have or used to have. And I say this because, like I said, I get the privilege of working with people, not only like the work I did on myself, but also working with people and hearing the similarities and like so many patterns of so many people from so many different backgrounds, but the common things that are going on inside of the mind. And this self-talk is really where transitioning needs to happen. And it's not easy. It's easy to go down the path of negativity, especially when you get a hit. especially when you get a hit, but it's how quickly we can get back up. Because it's only a matter of time where those hits are going to happen. Not to anticipate them, but you got to know how to get back up. We need more people getting back up and get back up fast without hurting yourself or numbing yourself or avoiding it or shutting down or putting on a smile when you're not okay. Like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. And the moment you actually accept that, the faster you're going to move through it. We don't need to fake things anymore. We need to process them. We need to process them, and we need to be selective with, if we decide we're sharing them or where we share them, that it is a space where it's going to help us move through it a lot faster. So there's a time and space to be vulnerable. Not everybody's deserving of your vulnerability. Not everybody's deserving of the time to share it, especially sharing so many things on social media. One thing that I've learned is when you share something, make sure you're in a really good space and you've already overcome it. Because it's not a time to share things when you're in a dark space, when you're super vulnerable, because you're literally, you're too weak at that moment. So even accepting times when you're feeling weak versus the times that you're feeling strong. Share things when you move past them. If you are somebody that's posting a lot on social media, do not share them when you are in a space in the deep of it, of your vulnerabilities. You need to really go seek out support or be in a group and work on that. You know, that's so important. I'm really a big advocate on having support, finding support, reaching out to people. I'm really big on one-on-ones. I don't do group stuff, especially with deep stuff. I always have like a one-on-one coach. And a lot of this prioritizing is, so getting back into the excuses, is we got to acknowledge, so this is typically the self-talk, like, and this is me like keeping it PG because our talk could be a lot like meaner, but I'm keeping it PG because we're on social media here. So like, what nerve? You should be ashamed of yourself. So we're talking about the shame for even thinking that you matter enough to deserve to be happy and feel good. How dare you take care of yourself? There are other people and things that are more important than you. Like, you're worthless. You don't deserve to go first. These are the conversations in the nice way that a lot of us truly believe in. And last night, what I had like my mastermind do is we made a list of things. What do I need to overcome in order to become who I want to become? What do I need to overcome in order to become who I want to become? And this gets out of the whole realm of fake it till you make it. There are things we have to overcome. Our fears, our insecurities, our self-doubts, the constant worrying, the constant anxiety. Those things are taking away your energy and they're stealing your personal power. We have to understand there are things we have to work on to overcome in order to thrive. And some of them too is our excuses. The excuses we constantly lie to ourselves about that hold us down, that weigh us down and block our blessings. And what I did is we made this list, and then from there we wrote it all out in a safe group together. We wrote out all of the things that we feel we need to overcome in order to really thrive. The emotional stuff, the mental stuff, the physical stuff. And then we like shared it as a group, and it was so liberating in this small group. We had like 10 people in it. Just share this and realize like everybody's going through something. And there was so much comfort in it, of course, in a safe space where we're all doing the work together to share that. And then no judgment, no nothing. And then everybody felt like really recharged, really recharged and ready to get up, go and operate like back up on it. And I was like, thank you so much for that call. But it's really about the releasing, like, what do I have to overcome in order to really thrive in my life, or in order to go to that next level? There are certain things that I need to not necessarily learn, but I have to unlearn. I have to unlearn how to be anxious. I have to learn how to operate in a calm state of energy so that I can be mentally clear and on point and, be generating good energy. I have to unlearn doubting myself, and I have to learn to start trusting myself. I have to learn to stop. I have to unlearn procrastination and start learning to take action, like regardless of my emotional state. I have to unlearn like giving into instant gratification, and I have to learn to connect more with myself, my feelings, and my cravings and my desires, and sit with them. Sometimes sit with them, or, you know, feel connected to myself and to others, connection to maybe I sit down and do my meditation. So what do we have to unlearn, and then how can we shapeshift that? We also have to acknowledge that feeling bad and placing judgment on ourselves and our statements, which we have to learn to create a new story for ourselves. And there's a difference between truth and belief. There's a big difference between truth and belief. A lot of our beliefs, it took me a while to understand this, beliefs are the programmings we constantly say day in and day out. The sneaky thing about it is a lot of times we're not even consciously aware of the self-dialogue. Every single day we're having conversations thousands and thousands of times inside of our head. So the moment you feel, and for most people don't understand, our bodies are subconscious. So when you feel a heaviness, or you feel a knot in your stomach, or you feel something in your heart, or you feel a tightness in your neck, your body is trying to communicate to you. We just haven't stopped to pause, to listen, to respect our body. And most of the times we numb the one part of ourselves that's trying to communicate to us on a subconscious level, which is our body. We disrespect and we disregard and we numb and we shut it up and we numb ourselves. So the more that you're taking care of your body and you're putting good foods into your body, which impacts your pineal gland and your cognition and connection to higher consciousness, you're exercising your body to move energy through it, to get more creative, to have more clarity, to process like different emotions. And that's why a lot of people, like, and training and working out, you just cry. It's cellular releasing. Movement, it allows you to feel. Exercise allows you to connect with your body. It allows you to feel. And a lot of people have a hard time feeling, but feelings are just informations. It's blessings God's given us for our guidance system. It's our greatest form of information. And so if we embrace our emotions, and we know that pain is just actually a way of informing us that we're off course, and what we need to like listen to, it's not so scary anymore. It's not scary anymore. So holidays approach, it's easy to get confused and disconnected from our goals and our targets. There's a ton of confliction inside of the mind, the conflict of the mind that resides in our mind. And we're conditioned to believe that for the next few months, everything revolves around numbing ourselves, cravings and desires, foods and drinking. And most people set them up to fail before the season even starts. And it's like prepping yourself. It's like a vacation. Like you prep your vacation. A lot of times too, even traveling. We're going to talk about traveling. You prep yourself, like when I'm on vacation or I'm here, I'm traveling, it's okay. Remember, we're talking about excuses today. This is how it's supposed to be. Like, I'm off. There's no responsibility. I can drink as much. I can eat whatever I want. Like, nothing counts. But then you finish it and you're in this coma that you've created, and you have to go back to the real world, into your reality, and you feel miserable. You feel miserable, you feel horrible, and you're depressed and you're down, and then it takes you longer to get back up. So was it really worth it? Was it really worth it? This comes back to what we're saying. Everything in our life has a consequence. The consequence is either desired or undesired. The outcome is either wanted or unwanted. How many times do you want to keep living in this cycle? That's what sabotage is. It's like, anticipate suffering and don't go there. Like, I know these are my triggers. I know this is how it used to be. But when have we ever taken a moment to rewrite our story? When have we ever taken a moment, you know what, last holiday season, this is how it was. I felt sorry for myself. I numbed myself. I drank a lot. I ate a lot. Maybe even got back into some drugs, like whatever you might have done. Maybe got into some toxic relationships because, everybody else brought a date and you didn't. Like, we got to learn to, if you're single, embrace getting to know yourself. Embrace, if you can't enjoy time on your own, why would you think that would be long lasting for somebody else to enjoy time on your own? Then you blame everything else and project all your stuff on everybody else. No, that's you. Everything and everyone in our lives are opportunities to change our story and to create a story that we want from here on out. So I encourage you to start to use the excuses as to why you deserve to take care of yourself this holiday season, to set some healthy boundaries for yourself and for others. And to also maybe take a moment to write out how you would like to operate these next 2 months or these next 6 weeks. How you want to operate these next 6 weeks, and what are some things that you're anticipating? What are some, maybe it's gatherings with family, or maybe everybody else is going to be with the family and you're going to be alone. What are some things that are really freaking you out a little bit right now, or that don't really resonate with? And instead of numbing them this year, why don't we just kind of just write it all down and face it for the first time? Have you ever tried that before? Have you just tried to just get clear on what it is that's that you are faking, that you're lying to yourself about, that you're pretending isn't bothering you and isn't hurting you, and shutting down and becoming emotionally unavailable? I get it. I did that for a long time. Nobody knew. But then again, at the end of the day, you know. So how long do you want to run from it? So let this be a new beginning for us. Let this be a time where we, instead of running, we embrace. And we take a moment to sit, to write it out, and then to write a new storyline. Write a new storyline, and it kind of goes back to the example of when I sat down yesterday and had a conversation with one of my clients, and we made this list that there are multiple paths to an end destination. Speaking of which, there are multiple paths to an end destination. And if you've had a poor experience in the past of how the remaining of your year has ended, and these patterns you see are patterns, because everything in life is going to be a pattern until you change your mind to course correct the pattern. So today I want you to say, I changed my mind. Let me take a moment and brain dump or write out what I'm anticipating to happen, because anticipating something is also strategizing and planning how it's going to happen. This is also visualization. The anticipation is a form of visualization. So the moment that you can write down the anticipation of things that are going in a way that is undesired, and you take a moment and you write that out, then you can also take a moment to restructure and to write out a new storyline of what you're anticipating and how you would like to handle it. Because at the end of the day, everything comes down to us taking responsibility for all of our outcomes and knowing that we did our part, and the rest can shift as it goes. But nothing changes if you keep going into every single situation with the same mindset, with the same behavior, and the same way that you have done every single holiday season. So let this be the year where things shift for you. This year, we are trying to reprogram in your mind, this is a year you thrive. This is a year you create the storyline the way that you want to show up as. You don't have control of how everybody else shows up, but maybe you are going to feel inside of yourself proud that you set some healthy boundaries this year. Maybe this year you're going to feel proud of yourself that instead of sitting by yourself and feeling sad and alone, somebody invited you to go to spend the holidays with them, and you gratefully accepted. Thank you. Yes, I would love that. I would love that. That was so amazing. And I get it, because there's a lot of times during the holidays where I turned it down because I felt bad, or I was like, oh, it makes me sad. No, this is time to be connected. Connection with yourself and connection with others. So, and maybe this holiday season too, you like start putting yourself first versus last. So this is a time we really create excuses where we deserve to be first, and understanding that everything, when you take care of you, you're taking care of everything else that you do, because you get to give others around you the best of you versus what's left of you. And it's time that you guys start really pouring into yourself so that others can really get to experience the core of you. But if you don't know you, there's no way others are gonna know you. And yeah, so that's really what today's message is about, is creating new excuses, getting clear on what you're anticipating, time to face it so that you're not a prisoner to it anymore. And yeah, amazing. Yeah, I'm so happy. This is a season intentionally. I love that word. We are intentionally putting ourselves first. And that means even setting some beautiful boundaries. But you got to also write those down. Like, taking time and spending time alone is your best form of clarity. And you can game plan it. If it's something you're not good at, remember, we're not good at things because we've practiced not being good at them. And we've never given ourselves an opportunity to try and practice putting our intentions and our efforts into a new role, of I am somebody that, puts my workouts first and eats well and, says yes when I mean it and says no when I mean it, and has some, time boundaries, and I respect my time, and I, talk to myself nicer, and I transition things. And if somebody's behaving in a way that is not appropriate, I speak up about it. And this year I'm just not going to be fake about it. I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm not going to pretend that things are good. I'm not going to pretend that, say yes to things I actually don't want to do anymore, because it's your season. It's your season. All right. And we're going to claim it, and we're going to move on. So just a quick recap. Today we talked a little bit about the confliction of the mind. We talked about creating excuses that work for us versus that work against us, understanding that self-care is giving the world and others around you the best of you versus what's left of you. Katie Reed said that quote, and I always come back to it because that quote just hits. We also talked about a few self-dialogues and making a list of what you have to overcome: personality traits, emotions, the way that you think, the way that you're taking care of your body, your mind, your heart, things that you have to overcome in order to step into your next level of blessings in your life. So that was kind of like a summary of what today's conversation was. I hope that it served you. Drop your comment in the comment box below. I'm going to share these posts in the holiday series of 30 days of real talk about the holidays and game planning it, getting your head right, your body right, strategizing things when it gets closer to game time. And I'll see you guys every single day at 12 p.m. Send me messages if there's something that you don't want to share publicly, but you would like me to talk about in these conversations. But I have my notes. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 12. I'll see you later. And watch out for my post that's going out very soon. All right. Bye, you guys. I love you. Sending you so much love. And that's it. Bye.